Welcome to Chew on This, where we practice theology as a community in the reality of our messy lives. This discussion comes from our Maranatha Forest Lake Wednesday night church, the pastoral preaching notes, and the live large group discussion these notes prompted, something we like to call a community-based learning experience. Pastor Arlene, your host, has been ministering as part of Maranatha since the inception of the church almost 45 years ago. She loves studying God's Word, sharing what she has learned, and encouraging all to chew on this with Jesus and others. Along with her passion for Jesus and solid theology, she loves spending time with family, hiking in the woods, and taking curious and peculiar pictures. So come on, chew on this with us.
Welcome to Tuesday's edition of Chew on This. And I want to say, Waka. It is welcome in Yupik, in one of the native languages in Alaska. There are 20 distinct different native languages in Alaska. Might as well, because it's its own little country by itself. Yes. It's such a ginormous. But yeah, it is pronounced Waka. I would listen to the young lady who was showing that to me online. So you can say Waka to people. Waka. I think to watch her pronunciation, it was Waka.
Waka.
Yeah, Waka. Yeah. It sounds kind of like karate chop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I know. It's just,
are we supposed to do that?
Waka from Maranatha. Yeah, there we go. That's going to be bad. And tomorrow is Throat Punch Thursday. We can use it. Yeah. We have no idea why we have a Throat Punch Thursday in the office, but we do. Anyways, hey, welcome. This is
hospitality.
This is Pastor Arlene Hasseltine, along with our pastor of discipleship, Michelle Ingram, our producer, Jim McGannon, and our producer in training, Nick Hanna, and all four of us want to thank you so much for joining us for this Tuesday, which isn't Throat Punch Tuesday. There's only a Throat Punch Thursday. For the second half of our discussion on Chew on This, the first half of this Bedrock discussion was broadcast on Monday and is available on yourliferadio.com. Look for the Chew on This icon. We are in week 2 of our Formed series, Be My. And we are just getting to the concept of what does Be My entail. If we're going to be my, Jesus is Be My, because he says that in all these places. And I encourage you to listen to Monday's show to get them in Matthew 16:24, Mark 8:34, and Luke 9:23. They all say the same thing. And then he said to them all, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross daily and follow me. And then we just keep on talking about it, and we find out he says the same thing in John 15:8 and in Acts 1:8. This is to be my Father's glory, that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. Okay, so we know it's something that grows, this idea of be my. And then Acts 1:8, it says, but you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes on you, and you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem and all Judea and Samaria and to the ends of the earth. So this idea of discipleship, the idea of what does it mean, what does it look like, what does it mean to have the character of Christ, what is the process? Does it mean you have a list and you check it off and you have people rate you and get a report card? And we have come up with this idea that you are not being a witness, you just are a witness. You are a witness, your character is just going to come out. And so what kind of character is it? Well, how can you tell if you have the character of Christ? I mean, what kind of effect do you have on people? What is it like? And the idea, I think, of defining the word witness, there is one word that I'm 100% positive is the best word to exchange for that. And that is the word hospitality. Welcome to the show. Here, have a piece of pie. That sounds like a sales. I mean, that just, it's not holy. Hospitality is not holy. I'm just letting you know. It just doesn't have enough. Jesus didn't say, hey, welcome. What would you like to drink there? Can I get you some chilled water? Maybe some chilled mango juice. I don't know if there's mango juice over there, but hey.
I don't know.
Matthew 25:40. The king will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Jesus telling this parable. This concept of being called into community. There is a great, and I'm going to read a little bit lengthier of a quote, but it just stabbed me in the gut. I got to find it here. It's one of these. There we go. It is a quote by C.S. Lewis. C.S. Lewis. So, hey, it's going to have punch and it's going to slap us in the face and wrap its arms around us. And I do have to give a little bit of context. He wrote a series of letters called the Screw Tape Letters, talking about a head demon training a minor demon into his demonology. All right. Make-believe stuff. Well, not really, but make-believe in the book, outlining how things could look, how we could view it. And so this senior demon is giving this junior demon instructions on how to demonize people, how to know. So here we go. My dear Wormwood, men are not angered by mere misfortune, but by misfortune conceived as injury. And the sense of injury depends on the feeling that a legitimate claim has been denied. The more claims on life, therefore, that your patient can be induced to make, the more often he will feel injured and, as a result, ill-tempered. Now, you will have noticed that nothing throws him into a passion so easily as to find a tract of time which he reckoned on having at his own disposal unexpectedly taken from him. It is the unexpected visitor when he looked forward to a quiet evening, or the friend's talkative wife turning up when he looked forward to a tete-a-tete with the friend, that throws him out of gear. Now, he is not yet so uncharitable or slothful that these small demands on his courtesy are in themselves too much for it. They anger him because he regards his time as his own, and he feels that it is being stolen. Ouch. Thank you, Brother Lewis. Thank you for stabbing me in the heart once again. So this wonderful concept of hospitality. My time is my own. And I think Jesus slayed that thought. It's like, no, my time is not my own. But I'm not also allowed to become unhealthy in this process where I start doing the checklist of overachieving, which none of us here in the studio have ever done. Ever. Because, nothing like an overachieving Christian to, make yourself shine bright. So, hospitality. Getting a definition of it. I read my definition that C.S. Lewis had here in this book called The Community. Great book, by the way. Merriam-Webster, my favorite dictionary, says this: hospitality refers to the friendly, generous, and welcoming reception of guests, visitors, or strangers. It is the act of ensuring people feel comfortable, safe, and valued, whether in a private home or through a commercial establishment. The concept can be understood by two primary context: personal versus professional hospitality. And we will leave it at that. So the etymology of this word is really interesting. Pastor Michelle, pray tell, did thou's brainus go buzz, buzz, buzz during the sermon? And he's like, oh, I need to find out the etymology because I love words and how they work.
Well, so you were talking about the Latin word
hospice.
Hospice. And you said, you have to be careful because it's so close to hospice. And I was thinking about that. So then I thought, okay, what's the etymology of hospice? And so it says the term hospice is etymologically connected to several other English words. And it's hospice, hospital, hostel, and hospitality, all of which a place providing hospice care. Hospital, originally referred to a lodging for travelers, now it's a medical institution. Hostel, a place providing lodging, especially for travelers. And hospitality, the friendly and generous reception of guests. So all of them are a place providing different kinds of care for different kinds of people. And I thought, how unique that is. So it was originally, hospices were established as rest homes for travelers and the sick, often run by religious orders. So what we think of hospice is, but it is the same thing. If you have somebody in hospice, it's to provide them care, to care for them.
So we have the word care.
Yep.
That brings them all together.
Yep. And so it says it provides comfort and support. Is that not all the things that we were talking about?
Comfort and support.
Yep.
Well, I'm not so sure about comfort, but okay. So there is also some synonyms and related concepts listed in Merriam-Webster that I thought was great, because I think we can play a game here. Too bad we don't have buzzers, because the first one who would buzz in could get the word and the others couldn't. And who can receive it? Yeah. Maybe an example. Maybe we can come up with examples of them. But these are synonyms of hospitality, right? Friendliness. Anyone have an example in their world recently of friendliness, whether it was shared with you or...
Well, this might shock our listeners, but I just recently started a new job, and everyone there has been super friendly.
Wonderful.
And part of their onboarding has been, and it's all by Zoom, but you meet with the VPs, the leadership team of each of the departments, and go through these introductions, and they get to know you a little bit, you get to know them a little bit, and you learn what their department does. So it's been a very friendly experience.
Excellent. Yep, a definition of friendliness. Anyone else?
I think of Jenny Gaskill and her use of names.
Yes, she finds first names and
She
makes sure
finds
she uses
first
them.
names and uses them. It doesn't matter where you are, the store, the restaurant, the bank, everywhere. What is your name? And she will use it. And
Yeah, even if you're on Valley Fair
Yes.
riding a pukey ride, she's going to find out whose puke's going to be flying around with hers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah.
Yep. So I
Why
have
are you on this crazy ride as a grown-up?
worked at that.
Yes, I think everyone needs to work at friendliness.
Yes.
Because if it's just this natural over whatever, it's usually done as a control tactic, and that's not, you don't need that.
Pastor Mike's, if you're a believer, tell your face.
Yeah.
That one was for me. I have a flat affect generally, and so he's like, smile, people. And so I go into the store and be like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to smile. And so I would smile this ridiculous smile, which would make me laugh, which would then make me smile for real.
Yes.
And it has, over the years, because I was telling the story and somebody's like, I would never think that of you. You smile all the time. I'm like, thank you, it's working. It has grown. Yep.
So Nick and Jim, do either of you have another word or another activity you can do for friendliness? Jim, you listed this idea of personal interview. So the personal thing, communicated friendliness. Nick, how about you? Is there something an action that says friendliness?
Well, this kind of goes along with another one of these related concepts, but where I live, it's kind of, I explain it to people, it's like a campground. So everyone in our neighborhood kind of knows everyone, and everyone's super cordial and friendly with everyone. But whenever someone new moves into the neighborhood, we always make sure to try to include them in like all of our community functions and that sort of stuff.
So inviting. Yep. Friendliness is the neighbor coming over and asking me if I want to go on a walk.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I see her walk. She's retired now, and she walks more than I do. We walk out by your house, Michelle, quite a bit, because it's the least amount of traffic once we get off that one road. Yep. And that is, and it fits in my still working full-time plus, and we get to have time together still accomplishing other things, and her not minding. I don't have a lot of time, but being able to do that. So to me, friendliness was sharing an activity that was boundaried by my schedule, and it didn't bother, because most people, my schedule is overwhelming, and they don't want to engage in that as a outside friendship, outside of the normal office stuff. So that I found is a really huge act of hospitality and friendliness, her done for me. All right, so another word we have is warmth. Warmth. So what do you think of warmth? Is there an example? I'll kind of go through some of these slowly, so buzz in if you get a word from God, if you get a message from God on how to define it. No, if an activity or an action that you can say, hey, warmth was communicated through this. There is a person in this, our family here, whenever she talks to you and she's double checking at you, she'll look at you when you say something and she goes, and really? I mean, she just looks like, are you good? And it's like that, not asking for any information, but checking on your emotional, do you need something? And He's got a great smile. It was great. So that is something I would see as warmth. How about cordiality? That you're very cordial, which means you have good manners.
I think of Tara, Miss Tara, who works at the front desk.
Yep.
She's so encouraging and kind.
We're going to, geniality is there, which is the same as having good manners in mind. How about a welcoming nature? Shiny, happy smiles, a welcoming nature.
I got told that.
Yeah.
Like, you're smiling, you're welcoming. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm so glad.
Yes.
And that's a Jesus thing. That's not a me personality thing.
When you think of hospitality, so much of it is based on this first encounter, that you have a welcoming nature. So if this is Jesus' character, what in Jesus' character was welcoming? I mean, what activity, what behavior did Jesus engage in? Because sometimes he was just a little uptight, man. There's some, when he stood up to things, he stood up to conflict, and he took no prisoners, man. He's just like, whoa. But he also had this welcoming nature. So how would you communicate Jesus' welcoming nature? What other words would you put to it? We did talk about it some on the floor with the Wednesday night crew, not specifically to this concept here, but the idea that everyone is welcome. We talked about individuals and things we have done, that you can come in with a different, as long as you value people and you will hold yourself, your character to that, we find a way for the connection to happen.
Oh, there was so welcoming. I don't know where this would land in all of this, but when we first came here, we have a son who has disabilities and can act out. And the very first Sunday that we were here, there was a family that had a son also that had disabilities, and he had gotten in trouble, so he couldn't go to kids' church. So he was sitting in one of the tall chairs from the lobby, and he was sitting up there. And I thought, okay, this is interesting. But then in the middle of the Pastor Mike's sermon, he said something, Pastor Mike said something, and he said something right back to him. And Pastor Mike just went, "You are exactly right, Mikey," and kept going right on. And I thought, how they treated him, we can go here because my son will be welcome here. That was a welcoming thing to me. And I see it all the time with all different kinds of people. But it was like, yep, we could go here.
Yes.
And that was long before I was in staff. Any of that. That was the very first Sunday we were here. So I had nothing. Nope.
Yep.
It was the very first Sunday I was here. I'll never forget it.
And there are some individuals you don't have to make any assessment. You know that there's a way to make them feel welcome.
Yep.
Because you have authority in a way over, and you can grant your authority to protect or to invite them in, like with Mikey, who has more energy than a human being is allowed to have. Yes.
And strong.
And yes, he is very strong. So a welcoming nature. Jesus had that thing where even if it's outside of the boundaries of the culture he was born in, this idea of accepting Samaritans, this is where I need to go because they need to know that I'm the Messiah. I'm going to cross this natural boundary because in the supernatural I need to make this, and it's uncomfortable. And his disciples went a little lulu when he was speaking to the Samaritan woman, and everyone in her community gave their life to Christ. Our definition of it made a commitment to live the character of Christ because of that encounter.
And he did it. He did it to the children.
Yep.
He did it to the woman with the issue of blood.
Yep.
He did it to everybody. He accepted everybody that came to him. So you're talking about, so that, he came after the Pharisees because they weren't doing that.
Oh no, they were witnessing to God's power by being above others and showing them they can be above, and that they should follow. Yeah, putting people in their place and their Yep. The one that always floors me, though, is when he was so mad in the temple, because in order to get your money changed into temple money, they would make you pay fees. And so in order to buy any offerings there to get your sins forgiven, you would have exorbitant prices, and they would rip you off. And I can't imagine. He goes home that night, makes a whip, comes back, and just and kicks a few people out, well, a lot of people out. And this idea of his anger being handled in an appropriate way, you cannot rip my people. You cannot do this to stop them from their cleansing in God's eyes, from their acceptance of God. You have put up a system that literally rapes them of their relationship with God, and so angry. That also is part of witness.
Yes.
Part of when being so offended for those who aren't able to care for themselves. I'm thinking of Mikey.
Yep.
And being able to offer a home. We actually have an actual dedicated room where, because we have found the large group of individuals with special needs as they become adults, being able to worship in a way that doesn't, they can be loud and noisy or do whatever they can do in that room. They can walk, they can sing. Dylan loves to sing, and it isn't distracting there. But if they're in the the big church, we just call it, that it becomes a spectacle. And we have a way to go be. She works in this area and defining, giving them a place for respect and expression, and making sure there's all kinds of avenues for, depending on how much activity your body, how your body functions. And there's one individual in the wheelchair, they can put the bells on his toes and he can wiggle his foot to them. He can participate in worship. This idea, that's witness.
It's to care. She invested in listening. She is impacting the others. Her mere presence has changed their lives.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Approachability, generosity, kindness is one of my favorites. What a beautiful compliment to give to someone. Friendliness, that one's on there twice. It must be deliciously double. Being polite, attentiveness, neighborliness, graciousness, thoughtfulness, courteous, civil, mannered, and respectful. So I'd like to invite our listening audience, what is ours? What is our commitment to witness or to be hospitable for this next week, for this next month? I want to do this. I want to practice and see what it feels like, because Jesus says you will be. This is what you do when you follow me. Your character develops where these characteristics get you into situations that you normally wouldn't do. I know I wouldn't, because once again, my natural personality goes that people suck. And I don't know why, but it's just there. Not that I don't like people either, but I can feel the cost. If I do this, it's going to cost me. And are you worth it? And Jesus says, you got to stop that. Oh, you can't do that. Of course they are. They're so worth it. I went through death, burial, and resurrection for them. The death, burial part sucked, but the resurrection part, all right? So I don't get to do that. It is my first filter that comes out in these kinds of things. And quite embarrassing sometimes, because I feel like sometimes I have to hide my face so I don't have that reaction when I see something. And the thought is, how could you be so stupid, especially when somebody hurts somebody? But I realize as an older person now that it's not meant most of the time. Most of the time they're doing a protective measure, and all it needs, well, let's have a conversation. Is that what you intended? Because if that's what you intended, you're never going to be allowed to speak here again. You're never going to be allowed to do that, be part of the small group of leadership. But if it is something where you don't know the skills yet, then we can work on the skills.
Right.
But you need to go apologize.
Right.
I mean, that whole being able to do that, now I understand. We usually don't suck on purpose.
Well, and that's the witness, what you just did with them. That whole thing. That whole thing is being part of a witness.
Well, being hospitable. There is this great book called Unreasonable Hospitality. Everyone should read it, and it's applicable to any area in your life. And I have to tell you, the workbook that goes with it, and I told you, Pastor Michelle, when I write a book, there's going to be something that looks like, I know that had to cost $1 billion to get that thing produced, but it is amazing, the workbook. It could be applied to all kinds of things in your life, how you break it apart. This is definitely for the restaurant type, the hospitality, that type of career, but amazing encouragement that it is worth the effort, whatever you do, because it has unreasonable response. When you make people know that they are valuable, that you have value. Just that. To witness is to let them know you are valuable. You are, my way of saying that is, you were designed on purpose. You were designed on purpose. There is no mistake here. You are designed on purpose. How can we celebrate that? How can we feed into that? How can we encourage that to be all that it is supposed to be? And we're going to be taking a station break here, and we're going to be coming back with another skill to add to add to hospitality. When we talk about witness, there's hospitality, and then there's this other thing that we do that fits right in there that helps us. I think it helps gauge the bridge into more ministry than just responding out of hospitality. So after we take the break, come on back and we'll give you the other word.
Such great discussion and content makes you want to dig in even more to the Word. We'll get right back to it shortly. In the meantime, here's more information about the church and where to find this show and many others like it.
Maranatha has campuses in Forest Lake, Minnesota and Chisago Lakes, Minnesota. We have been serving our communities for decades, well over 40 years of loving God and loving people. Enjoy what you're hearing here? Visit yourliferadio.com for links to our other radio shows.
We would love to have you join us at one of our Maranatha campuses. Visit yourliferadio.com for links to both of our campuses for more detailed information. Now, back to chew on this.
Be my. There is Jesus' statement. If you want to be my, this is going to have to happen. There are things that show that we are his. If we want his character to be in us, he says, you will be my witnesses. And what in the world does that word witness mean? It is not telling people they're going to hell. Because I think most people eventually get to that place where they know they're supernatural beings, and it's the scariest place you can arrive if you don't have support to help you walk through what in the world does that mean. But there's always that thing that there's more to life than what I'm experiencing. I can tell there's more. This isn't just you are physically here and you physically die and you're done. So that is a beautiful, amazing realization in people's part, but also extremely scary. You take that idea and now you witness to it and you share and you hand them a Bible and you tell them they're going to hell unless they do what the Bible says. That doesn't work that way. It's actually, dare I say, it's abusive. It's not offering care. When Jesus encountered people, he said, you are worthy. You are worthy. There was care communicated. Another word we use for that is hospitality. And so we have the word witness. Hospitality is part of it. Now, here's the second half, the other side of the coin. And the word is, it's really a big one. Everybody is going to have to work hard to do it. It's called listening. The other side of hospitality is listening. You take hospitality and listening, you put them together to die. You have witness. And it gives you the boundaries that you need. It gives you the direction that you need. No, that really isn't witness because that would be harmful and hurtful. Nope, that really isn't witness because I need to stand up. This is a conflict that needs to be addressed. If I care for them, I'm not going to allow this thinking or this person to be abusive, those types of things I'm going to offer. So listening, it's going to be inconvenient. It's going to be inconvenient because some people never stop talking, just saying. And that they like to talk a lot. Sometimes you have to give them, you have 10 minutes, and I time them. And that's okay. I really want to, but I only have this amount of time. It doesn't mean that they get to control everything, but listening to individuals.
So I've learned how to be kind in getting that, doing that.
In being in the boundaries, with boundaries. Does anyone have a story on being someone listening to you, or you being able to listen to someone and that you watched them open up more, you watched them get a little bit of health in the situation? I have one. Long time ago, I had no gray hair and probably a little less wrinkled in my face. Hair was still curly, though. And right now we have humidity inside your nostrils here, and my hair is just, forget it. So, yeah, Nick, I know you suffer from that as well. So, yeah. I'll give you a clip. Listening. I was surprised to find a story being shared to me by someone, and it wasn't healthy. It rang of abuse in my head from a place they were at before they got here. But a person that participated in that structure of authority or organization, whatever you want to call it, actually ended up here in this community of people too. And I didn't think much about it. And just watching and not like I had access to both of them, but one of them told me a story about being over there, and it's just like, oh man, they are abusive. And I would, they're no longer a congregation anymore. And so, but it was really bizarre. The other person didn't have much access around him and all that. And I seen an exchange of information happening under we have to get something done here really quickly. And the way that she was treated was so disrespectful. It just shocked me. And then what really shocked me is she took it. She doesn't anymore because she now found out that was abuse and that was not. But she told me later that she's never had anybody care about that. And I know we talked about that too in Monday's show, this idea of just standing up and saying, no. And that just came from listening, realizing, no, this isn't. And what's wonderful around here and in healthy communities, it's not just here, is you have people to back you up.
Right.
So they know they could try to push back against you, but you know it's unhealthy behavior. And you can just go get the people you know is like, this has to stop. And it was interesting because I'm not sure if you ever talked to me again. And I was like, that's all right. That is not my issue. My issue is I'm not going to allow that to happen, even though it's your normal response. Because they came from a place where, as a female, you could, even if you owned it and you ran the stage and you produced like that, they would give it to your son or your husband because you couldn't have, it wasn't good for you to have that kind of adulation and stuff. So I know everybody throw up with me right now. But that was a side effect of all of that. That individual was taking that here as well. So that idea of listening, that's an example that I have that it was able to be put into what I was able to control because I was there at that time, and I could threaten him a little bit because of who I'm married to. So if he's not going to push back against me because he's going to run into my husband, then it's like, good luck with that one. He gets more frustrated at that stuff than I do. That's why we have a lot of female leaders and pastors in our organizational structure. So with that being a listening example, anybody else have another one? One they can think of, someone listen to you?
So years ago, I was working at a place and I had an office with what seemed to be a pretty comfy chair across the desk from me, and over a few years, people tended to walk into my office, sit down, shut the door, and share whatever their heart's desired. And I, most of the time, thoroughly enjoyed the conversation.
What is that? It's just like somebody, my brother has this, my brother is the most reserved human being on the planet. Great guy, love him. My little brother, bigger than me. But he had, what is it? It's like somebody, he said, it's like somebody hung a shingle outside his office door, and they would tell him things that he has no business knowing. But it was like this trusted vault in there, and they could just, they weren't looking for answers per se, they were looking for safe space. So is yours the same as that?
Yep, pretty much. At first I just thought it was the comfy chair.
Well, there might have been some truth to that, but and then the rumor got, he can listen.
Yeah, so I mean, that's the one example that I can think of.
You know, I also think there's some kind of Jesus thing happening with those situations, especially when you go, how can this be happening to me? There's no reason why this should be happening to me. So I have to wonder, and it's great, Nick, it'd be fun watching how God continues, because your kids are still pretty little, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Watching as they grow older and your life shifts with their aging, what God has in your life, because that to me is an indication of something. Just there's something there, but that had to just freak you out.
And it was really nice a lot of the time, but sometimes it was pretty inconvenient. But
really? You had work to do, and you just couldn't quite get it done at the time. Yes. That's that falls right into this. And it's really a listening one.
Yes. No, there was a time, you'll probably remember this, I came in and talked to you about something, there was a conflict, and I'm like, okay, something has to change or I'm going to stop doing what I'm doing. And you just, it's like you listened to all my words, because I verbal process, so there were lots of words, and you got it down to this. You were able to listen and bring it down to the core things, yes. And you said, okay, do you want to have a conversation with them right now? I said, sure. And then you just brought us together. And the other thing is the other person was so wise. They listened, and then they said, is it okay if I go process this and come back and have another conversation later? And I said, sure. And and you just listened. You listened to all my words and boiled it down to something that was easy to explain to somebody. And I mean, there's been a couple things where you have listened to me. I talked about, I think the last time when I was really upset about something, and I'm like, she's going to think I'm crazy. Afterwards, I think, wow, she must have thought I was crazy.
Well, we all get a little crazy,
I have
and
a little
sometimes
bit of passion.
we got to you unpack the crazy,
Yeah.
and then you realize, okay, this is what I really think.
Yep.
Because you're getting out every single, and those who verbally process, this is
Yes.
part of the thing. Everything it possibly could be is
Yep.
going to come out of your mouth,
Yep.
and then you say, nope, this is what it is.
Yep.
That's the only way I can explain it, because I have quite a few in my world.
Yeah.
I am not one. I do fear and loathing inside myself, and then until I'm ready to, okay, this is it. And that's why I walk, because
Yeah.
I can do that while I'm walking. I don't listen to music. Sometimes I listen to podcasts now, but but it is intriguing I didn't know this. I learned this by loving people, because
Yes.
anyone who was a verbal processor was on the outside of my world until I grew up in Christ.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's just a different processing system. Actually, Arlene, it's really good for you, because now you realize what is going on inside of you. There's nothing wrong with any
Right.
of that. It's all just a jumble of this, and
Yeah.
you're going to get every emotion because you have emotions. Surprise! They're normal. Surprise! There we go.
Yeah.
Yep.
So just, listening. And then there's a friend of mine who has become a friend over the last number of years. We're like sisters from another mother. And she will just, again, just listen with no judgment in it, not necessarily trying to. I have a number of friends because they know me and they know I'm a verbal processor.
Yep.
And I have to do that, or it gets crazy inside my head.
Oh, yes. There's no sort, which is so funny because you're so organized.
Yeah.
You go in my office and you see the volcano. It's always a volcano explosion. Yours is so nice and organized. When I need organized help, I find you or Gail, and you can help with but everything gets processed inside. It's like, okay, might give me 3 weeks and I'll let you know how I'm feeling. Tell my husband that doesn't work real well.
Yeah.
But having
have
friends
to
that
get
are
it
verbal
out.
processors helping me realize, okay,
Yeah.
I could say this, I could do this. So that listening, it sounds so silly, but there's being able to hand a Kleenex listening. You can't repeat. Everything is always confidential. You ask permission before you do anything. If it's mandatory reporting situation,
Right.
that it's and you tell them right then and there, this is abuse. We have to get you safe, or we have to,
Right.
If there's a confession where they share something with you, and you can outline the way to forgiveness or pardon, how they talk to someone, or or someone hurt them, that one has to be handled very carefully. Confessions are a gift, and sometimes they're not a wanted gift. But the process of listening, that is witnessing, being able to listen, help process. It's not ignoring. I love it when you can act dumb, like you have no idea they're asking for help. That's not right, by the way, but it's really easy to do when you get good at it. Disregarding, tuning out, or discount. The discount one is, well, you're awful young. You're pretty inexperienced. Those things are not helpful. When I can tell I'm having that reaction, it's like I'm talking to a 10-year-old, and I know you're way over 30. That has to go. It's a disrespectful reaction on my part. So those things, that's not listening. That is me making a judgment. Even if they are emotionally immature, it's because they've never had the process of having somebody committed to Christ, being there, being in that process. Not that you have to do that all the time,
Right.
but there are times and places when you are there, and it happens, especially when it's weird. It walks in your office, or you're at Walmart, and somebody comes up and says, "Can you?" Who doesn't know me? My husband, they all know, so they ask him for things. Usually, I leave him at the front door, and I finish everything and go pick him up on the way out. But it is really strange. I would like to invite our listening audience that pay attention to that. Ask God to open your ears and your eyes to listening opportunities. And then just what happens in your everyday normal thing, going to the grocery store, going to work, picking up kids, doing grandkids, whatever, going to work, coming home, going to the football game, all of those things, and seeing who you're next to, who is there. If I just paused a minute, are they trying to talk to me? My husband is a master at this, and yay. I get tired just watching him when we're traveling together, vacation and stuff like that. But I don't have to do it that way. I don't have to have that. He just goes and gets them. I mean, it's just amazing, because Nick, I was talking about that supernatural thing, them walking into your world, that's a sign of something. My husband's just a sign of something. He's just this magnet where individuals know almost uncannily know he's going to validate who they are.
That I wrote down validating that they aren't crazy.
Yeah.
Letting people know that whatever it is that they're saying, you're not crazy.
Yeah, and even before they even start validating their worth, I will listen to you.
Yep, that they are worth something just because they are, not because of what they do.
Right, and we call that around here the Maranatha mindset. These are things that, this is the mind of Christ. We must do this. And that is also the process of this whole thing of being formed. This is part of Christ's character. You become and you look and taste more like Jesus Christ when you do this thing called witnessing. But what, surprise, isn't giving the tracker, you go into hell stuff. It's actually having hospitality skills. And one of those skills included in there, a really big one, is the gift of being able to listen.
Yep.
Okay, so here's some practice ideas for listening or hospitality. There is a book, I already talked about it, Unreasonable Hospitality, and I found it to be a very fascinating read because they give so many examples. And it is this restaurant, and how would you pronounce it? Guidara?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I know there's a
Guidara.
whole Guidara.
Depends on what nationality.
It was just great stuff. And I'm not in that profession, never have been. Well, I did work at the Dairy Queen. That was my first real job besides babysitting. That's where my husband came to flirt with me in there. And you could tell there was, is there anything that you're getting rid of that I can have for free? And it's like, nope. And so the girl I was working with, she went and found things. It's like, no, I'm not paying for, and I won't give you anything for free because I don't own this place. So, So the Dairy Queen it was, working. So here, that was my hospitality experience. Practicing witnessing, practicing hospitality, practicing listening. Showing hospitality to a stranger or someone that's not related, called the other, someone outside of my sphere. Have you ever done that, or someone ever done that for you? I know, Jim, you mentioned a bit with your new job and the idea of making an onboarding and how welcome you have felt. So that qualifies, I think, underneath this, because you are new, you are the other, that they're helping you to not feel like the other, but now being part of the team. So I know we're getting close here. We're getting close to the end of our Tuesday show, and trying to summarize this concept and giving some actual activities people can also put into practice.
So moving, we have moved a number of times throughout our life, and so
we all love when a friend asks us to help them move.
But not just that, but so we don't live near family, and so having people, holidays and things like that, there's nobody to get together with, and so you find the stranger, the one that's the one. And it's funny because one year there was a lady, I can't remember her name, but she was the horse lady. You know who I'm talking about?
Yes.
Jenny. Yep. Jenny. She was sitting at the chairs at the front by the door. It was Easter maybe. I think we were having hot dogs. We're extremely informal at our house. And we were having something, just not a big meal. This is what we're doing. Would you like to come over and eat with us? And she was just like, oh, thank you. And then there were some people that had gone to eat out but didn't have dessert. And so we ended up having, just come over, those people who don't have. And because we didn't have, we see people that don't have. But learning to see the people that don't have somewhere to go or something to do or somebody that needs to do. Those are so you have to start seeing. You have to start seeing people. Before we can do these, we have to start seeing people.
So there's a preparatory stage.
Yep. See people.
See people.
See people.
I see dead people. I know. Had to go there. Yep.
I've never seen the movie, but I know that people are like, you watch that? No. I see dead bodies.
Yeah. Not dead bodies. I see dead people.
Dead
yes.
people.
Yes. Okay. There we go. Showing. When I see that, showing hospitality to a stranger, the other, that is the step of helping them be included. But backing that up even more so, it is plain old being polite. Please and thank you, I think, fall underneath this practicing, being polite. I would call that being gracious as well. It shifts things, especially when you are the one dealing with somebody in the hospitality business or somebody trying to help someone who's educating your children. I mean, where there's a service they're providing and you being gracious, even if you're problem solving together over something that happened, it is unbelievable the difference that makes. And I believe that is also this idea of being a witness, of hospitality, of listening, where you are able to control your fine self and make sure you're gracious and kind in the process of working with someone, whether it's the person checking out. Does anybody go in the line where they check out their groceries anymore? I go check out my fine stuff because I just feel in power and control.
That's what I do too.
Thing.
Yeah.
But back in the day of where you're waiting for the person who had somebody go get the thing that they forgot. Yes, I'm old enough to remember
Yes.
that. I remember when they used to put your groceries in a tote and you would drive up and that was, whoa, because I had all the kids. All I had to do was get the kids in the car and then I could go drive and they would put it in the trunk of my car. That was advancement.
Yes. Yes.
Now you can order it and they deliver it right to your house.
Yeah. Oh,
yes.
I do it all the time.
Yes.
One thing that you do in this showing hospitality, you compliment people. You did that. And not compliment people like, oh, you're so pretty. That's not, you find something, it's an art. You find something and go, oh, that's real. Not like, oh, that's such a pretty necklace. And you might say, oh, I really like that. That's a beautiful color.
Yeah.
Whatever you do that. I like the scarf, whatever it is, not something about who.
Jim, I really like your scarf.
Yes.
It's really smashing.
Yes.
Did you borrow it from Jen?
Did you just say smashing?
That's smashing. It's just smashing. I can because I'm making it up.
Yes.
I'm having visions here in the studio tonight.
She's had too much tea.
There is no such thing as too much tea. Just letting you know that. I'm a little teapot. There we
I
go.
was thinking about trying to jump in.
Yeah.
One of the things about hospitality was friendly.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And in my opinion, there's nothing more friendly than remembering someone's name.
Oh, yeah.
And we touched on that earlier, how some people
Yes.
do it. So people all the time, I don't know how many times, I've lost track of how many people say, I just can't remember names. I just can't remember names. Well, I said that one time to a boss of mine who was a pretty good friend, mentor. And he looked at me and he said, if it was important to you, you'd find a way.
Yep.
So since then, I really work at it. And it is amazing to see the look on people's faces.
Yes.
When
That's a
you
great
walk
point.
up to them
Yes.
and you say, morning, Nick. How you doing? And they just like,
Makes them feel seen.
yeah.
Once again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Inclusion.
simple little thing. If
Yeah.
you could just work on one thing, remember people's names.
Yes.
Yes.
The practice of.
Yep.
Yes.
Exactly.
Another thing on this list of what Jesus did is praying for the sick. Whether they understand sometimes this wonderful opportunity of you're somewhere, you're not even sure what but it's like, would it be okay if I prayed for you guys? Being able to ask that question. And if they say, oh, I'm not comfortable, okay, I will just be praying then inside myself, or I will pray when I get to my car or whatever. But that ask, I can feel my heart start to race when I know I'm supposed to ask that, especially if I'm in a public, I don't know what's going on or the individual. But being able to pray for the sick. And I'm not talking about seeing someone who's in a wheelchair or some of this disabled. I'm talking about praying for the sick or somebody that there's an emergency going on. Because his name was Handsome Dave. He came here. I'm not sure all that was complicated with his physical health, but it was a debilitating disease, and he did pass away from it. But he said that he hates it when people come up to him and try to heal him out of his wheelchair.
Yeah.
He felt disrespected, that I'm not valuable the way I am. And light bulbs just went off.
Yep.
And so I would always hug him and kiss him on the cheek. He was my boyfriend. My husband gave me permission to be dating Handsome Dave in his wheelchair. But just that kind of, he's a grown man, and being able to appropriately have a conversation that way. And he doesn't ever get touched. I mean, just putting my hand on his arm, and then usually I'd kiss the top of his buzz cut hair. And he's been with Jesus for quite a few years now. But that process. So praying for the sick or engaging those however you can. Praying for a need if you see that, asking permission if they're not somebody that is used to this. Not judging but showing mercy and compassion. We all get an F on that sometimes. But working towards that, and then confronting evil, this idea of dealing with conflict. So we have just listed all kinds of things. I also encourage our listening audience as we close this week to Monday and Tuesday show here. Go ahead in Scripture and look up all of the follow him, where Jesus invites people to follow him. And it's interesting to see who he engaged in and invited into personal relationship with him. Because I want to let you know that call, that invitation is always here. Always here. And if you have never answered yes to that, where Jesus says, be my, you really, it's an amazing experience, because it does complete who you are, because you are a supernatural being having a very temporary experience.
Thank you for listening to part 2 of this week's episode of Chew on This. Please join us for another new episode next Monday and Tuesday at noon on this station, WAJC. We have a great archive of past series and resources at yourliferadio.com. Select Chew on This and click on the information icon. We invite you to join us live each Wednesday night at our Forest Lake campus at 6:30 p.m. Original music, In My Father's Hand, was written and performed by Ron Carlson. A parting thought. As we are all learning to put missional living into practice, let's remember today, wherever we find ourselves, let's love God and love people. See you for the next Chew on This episode. The opinions expressed here are not necessarily those of the owner.